You may not have known it, but today is a red letter anniversary in the proud tradition of top-down brute force central government social engineering projects, or at least comically failed attempts at top-down brute force central government social engineering projects, as the case may be. For it was exactly 230 years ago today, Wednesday, 7 May 1794, that the people of France were first introduced to their brand new state religion, the cult of the Supreme Being, which was actually the second brand new state religion to be proclaimed there in the last half decade or so since the heady first days of the French Revolution. And when I say they were heady days, you can take that one literally because heads were dropping pretty much right and left. The first brand new state religion they tried was called the Cult of Reason. So there's no God, there's no Jesus, there's no afterlife, there's no miracles, nothing supernatural really exists. So just take all that energy you used to devote to your Catholic faith and devote it to reason. Just go be reasonable. It'll be great. You'll love it. But here's the problem with trying to make reason into a god. People are not very afraid of it. Certainly not in the same way they are afraid of a supreme cosmic judge who sees all your bad behavior and is fully prepared to consign you to eternal torment if he finds your score sheet lacking. So the French revolutionary government figured out pretty quickly that as political control mechanisms go, a state religion is far less useful when it doesn't have some sort of deity to fear and some sort of eternal reward or punishment attached to it. But Maximilien Robespierre, patron saint of central government social engineers, he has got the whole thing figured, damn it. And by early 1794, he's completed his political ascendancy and is pretty much the top man in the country at this point, who can do whatever the hell he wants. So he decides, okay, we're just going to shit-can this cult of reason thing, and we're going to replace it with something that better serves our needs. And every single aspect of the new state religion is going to be invented out of whole cloth by me, Maximilien Robespierre, with no input from anybody else. Trust me, guys, I got this. Just watch. It's going to be great. And here is the actual proclamation that was read out to the French people, informing them of their new religious belief system. Number 1, the French people recognize the existence of the Supreme Being and the immortality of the soul. Number 2, they declared that the best service of the Supreme Being is the practice of man's duties. Number 3, they said among the most important of these duties, the detestation of bad faith and tyranny by punishing tyrants and traitors, by caring for the fortunate, respecting the weak, defending the oppressed, doing unto others all the good one can, and not being unjust toward anyone. But you can't establish a brand new state religion just by issuing a memo. So we're gonna need to throw us some kind of a big old shindig. The Festival of the Supreme Being, we'll call it. And since every parade needs a grand marshal, I suppose that I, Maximilien Robespierre, will be willing to selflessly step up and perform the duty of playing God up on the big float. Except Robespierre's revolutionary compatriots were already getting rather sick of him by this point. They thought he was entirely too full of himself, too autocratic, too arrogant, and he probably just wants to assume all the powers of the former monarch and the former church authorities unto himself. And when your associates are already thinking of you that way, impersonating God up on top of a big float in a parade probably isn't the best way of assuaging their concerns. So this all happens in the second week of May, and does Robespierre make it to the end of July with his head still attached to his shoulders? Spoiler alert, no, he does not. And unsurprisingly, the cult of the Supreme Being perishes right along with him. But self-important social engineers never stop trying to impose new state religions. Nowadays, they just dress them up out of things that aren't ostensibly religious, public health, climate change, race, politics, what have you. So you might say Robespierre's headless ghost continues to haunt us right up to the present day. From high atop the battlements of Castle Curmudgeon, where Mika Brzezinski, if you're watching right now, you should probably turn away for the sake of your own mental health, or what's left of it in any event, because I am going to be making jokes about bad facelifts here this evening. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. Welcome to the program. I am your eponymous host and humble servant. And there are not all that many times when life furnishes us the opportunity to watch a nationally prominent political figure perform a real-time self-immolation of their own career. A matter of hours, possibly days, when you can watch in living color the slow-motion train wreck as the person douses their future in gasoline, lights up a match, and rides the flaming wreck of their hopes and dreams all the way to the bottom of Eastwood Ravine. I think I may have just mixed my metaphors there, but you get the point. So Kristi Noem, as you may know, is the governor of the great state of South Dakota, my own ancestral homeland for whatever that's worth. And up until the day before yesterday, she thought she had a pretty excellent shot at being Donald Trump's running mate this year. Before the dark times, before she published a memoir in which she openly lies about her foreign policy credentials and then goes to apparently very great lengths to impress upon the reader that she really, really enjoys killing animals. Like, a lot. Maybe a little too much. In fact, if the future that Kristi Noem was aspiring to was to be known as the O.J. Simpson of the animal kingdom, she may just pull it off. Now, I'd like to be able to read you the actual excerpts in full, but that is not possible at press time as the book has only been sent out to selected media outlets for advanced reviews. You know how it is, but New York Magazine has the write-up that I think I like the best, which I wasn't expecting, but hey, let's just go with it, which I will read from presently. Quote, Kristi Noem's book, titled No Going Back, The Truth on What's Wrong with Politics and How We Make America Forward. God, what a fucking unwieldy book title. Doesn't come out until May 7th, and it is already the stuff of political legend. Mitt Romney's car roof-riding dog had his time in the sun, but Seamus did not end his owner's career the way Cricket seems to be dashing Noem's hope of being the Trump VP pick. As Romney himself put it, the two scandals are quite different because I didn't eat my dog, I didn't shoot my dog, I loved my dog, and the dog loved me. Incredibly, it seems Noem's dog killer anecdote isn't the only weird or inaccurate tale in the book, which was clearly intended to make Noem a more attractive potential Trump running mate. Here is a list which we will keep updated of every self-sabotaging story the South Dakota governor inexplicably included in No Going Back. In the book, Noem recalls the time she decided to haul her dog Cricket, a wire hair pointer about 14 months old, to a gravel pit and fatally shoot her. Cricket's crime? She had an aggressive personality, and after Noem attempted to train her to hunt pheasant, she attacked some chickens instead. By taking Cricket on a pheasant hunt with older dogs, Noem says, she hoped to calm the young dog down and begin to teach her how to behave. Unfortunately, Cricket ruined the hunt, going out of her mind with excitement, chasing all those birds and having the time of her life. So, acting like a puppy, in other words? I digress. Noem describes calling Cricket, then using an electronic collar to attempt to bring her under control. Nothing worked. Then, on the way home after the hunt, as Noem stopped to talk to a local family, Cricket escaped Noem's truck and attacked the family's chickens, grabbing one chicken at a time, crunching it to death with one bite, then dropping it to attack another. Cricket, the untrainable dog, Noem writes, behaved like a trained assassin. When Noem finally grabbed Cricket, she says, the dog whipped around to bite me. Then, as the chicken's owner wept, so evocative, Noem repeatedly apologized, wrote the shocked family a check for the price they asked, and helped them dispose of the carcasses littering the scene of the crime. Through it all, Noem says, Cricket was the picture of pure joy. I hated that dog, Noem writes, adding that Cricket had proved herself untrainable, dangerous to anyone she came in contact with, and less than worthless as a hunting dog. Incredibly, Noem's horrific animal tale doesn't end there. She writes that right after killing Cricket, she decided she needed to also put her goat down, too, because he was nasty and mean due to not having been castrated. Noem decided to kill the unnamed goat the same way she had just killed Cricket the dog. But though she dragged him to a gravel pit, the goat jumped as she shot and therefore survived the wounding. Noem says she went back to her truck, retrieved another shell, then hurried back to the gravel pit and put him down. At that point, Noem writes, she realized a construction crew had watched her kill both animals. The startled workers swiftly got back to work, she writes, only for a school bus to arrive and drop off Noem's children. Kennedy looked around confused, Noem writes of her daughter, who asked, hey, where's Cricket? In the book, Noem says she met with the North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, sorry to change topics so abruptly, while she was serving in Congress, which did not happen. She writes, per the Dakota Scout, through my tenure on the House Armed Services Committee, I had the chance to travel to many countries to meet with world leaders. I remember when I met with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. I'm sure he underestimated me, having no clue about my experience staring down little tyrants. I'd been a children's pastor after all. What a great way of talking about children. Dealing with foreign leaders takes resolve, preparation, and determination. My experiences on those many foreign trips made me a better member of Congress and a stronger governor. It allowed me to hone my deal-making skills, which play a crucial role in leadership. Noem is not specific about when this meeting with Kim Jong-un took place, but she served on the House Armed Services Committee from 2013 to 2015. Multiple sources and North Korea experts told the Dakota Scout that there's no record of this meeting taking place, and there's no way a single junior member of Congress had a secret run-in with the dictator during this time. Even President Obama did not meet with Kim. Noem started backtracking shortly after journalists questioned the anecdote. The Scout reports that she blamed her ghostwriter and editor for erroneously including the North Korean dictator among the world leaders she has met. On May 5th, the publisher said the story would be removed from future editions. End quote. Now, it was the Kim Jong-un thing that first got her in trouble when she tried to make the rounds of the Sunday morning news shows the other day. And who knows, maybe if she had come up with a better answer for that one, maybe they wouldn't have had to bring up her penchant for massacring animals while she's waiting for the school bus to drop off her kids. Hi, Mom, how was your day? Oh, fine, I guess. Just been doing a bit of killing. Is that why you're carrying a gun and covered in blood? It sure is, sweetie pie. Now why don't you go run and turn on some cartoons, and Mama's gonna make you some fish sticks right after I change into a shirt with less goat brains on it. Who even knows who even knew that Kristi Noem's domestic life reads like a deleted scene from The Shining? Or maybe it's Fatal Attraction. I feel like Kristi Noem has the potential to be a bunny boiler if you caught her in just the wrong mood, is all I'm saying. So she goes on Face the Nation. And look, since nobody wants to talk about the elephant in the room, since that duty so often falls to me anyway, I'm just going to come out and say it. This woman has had a face transplant. The last time I saw her, she looked like Kristi Noem, South Dakota governor. Now she looks like Kristi Noem's troubled younger sister who ran off with a rock band and got a tramp stamp tattoo and wound up as a part-time exotic dancer with a full-time meth habit. At least when Nancy Pelosi gets a facelift, you can still tell it's Nancy Pelosi. All that's different is her eyebrows have moved up to the middle of her forehead, and she looks like somebody's trying to strangle her from behind with a sheet of saran wrap. And who is that for, anyway? Is that for Trump? Is Kristi Noem's understanding of Donald Trump so surface level to non-existent that she thought getting a face transplant and a slightly bigger set of tits was going to improve her chances of being his running mate? Because, spoiler alert, it didn't. And the Kim Jong-un thing, my God, your guess is as good as mine on that one. Because I think any normal person on hearing that claim would say, wait a minute, pump the brakes. Why would the dictator of the world's most reclusive regime be meeting with a backbench congresswoman who became the governor of a small state in the upper Midwest? And then that same normal person might say, I don't remember any Americans meeting with Kim Jong-un except Dennis Rodman and Donald Trump. And you know who else I bet knows that? Fucking Donald Trump. So if that claim was meant to impress him, let's just say I don't think it worked out any better than the face transplant and the brand new D-cupped set of sweater puppies did. But the way she answered the question, and she knew perfectly well that was going to be the first question, was really quite bizarrely self-defeating, because she keeps saying, well, when we found out this anecdote was in the book, we made sure that it would be adjusted. And just fantastic job, dumbass. Normally the best response to a difficult question isn't one that raises half a dozen other more difficult questions. First of all, I mean, yeah, I know politicians always use ghostwriters because politicians are barely literate morons. But isn't this pretty close to a tacit admission by Kristi Noem that her ghostwriter is just writing fictional bullshit about her, and she hasn't bothered checking his work before the thing gets sent off to the printer? When you're trying to sell a memoir, when you're putting your name and your picture on the cover, don't you at least pretend that you tangentially had something to do with writing the thing? So which one is it? Did you lie to your ghostwriter about meeting Kim Jong-un, or are you so uninvolved with the writing of your own memoir that your ghostwriter has to just invent fictional stories about you? And which one of those is worse? I don't know. Were the animal massacre stories at least true? Because I really want those to be true. But goddammit, I don't even know what to believe anymore. In a world where you can't even rely on a woman you saw 6 weeks ago showing up with the same face. All in all, from where this reporter is sitting, this is the worst week for a Republican woman governor since Katie Couric asked Sarah Palin that dastardly trick question, "What newspapers do you read?" Sarah Palin, who also thought, and the GOP establishment sure seemed to agree on this, that a taste for killing animals automatically translates into conservative street cred. How many times did we hear John McCain introduce her as the only vice presidential candidate who knows how to field dress a moose? And since her opponent was Joe Biden that year, I'm surprised that one didn't cause any sort of a fracas on the debate stage. Because I think I can picture Joe saying, "Hey, now you hold on a minute. We used to field dress mooses all the time back in Scranton. Ask Uncle Bosie, he was there. God rest his soul. I'm going to get even with those goddamn cannibals one day. You have my word as a Biden." So yeah, in summation, as far as political career trajectories go, a few days ago, Kristi Noem thought her ceiling was Vice President of the United States. And now, best case scenario, her ceiling is Fox News contributor. Possibly YouTuber. Worst case scenario, OnlyFans. So maybe those boobs will come in handy after all, who knows? Thanks very much indeed for watching. See you next time. Have a great day and a pleasant tomorrow. Do not comply. Get off my lawn.